I really like the way that they set up for a lot of the game, Manchester United. To go out there and score an early goal, which I don't want to tell other teams this, but Liverpool, if teams capitalise, can be prone to an early goal, conceding an early goal, and Manchester United took full action towards that, scored the early goal, allowed them to sit back. Granted, we hit the post 3 times, and we ended up scoring in the 78th minute. But I thought for the majority of the game, I liked the way they were set up. Um, but it's a game. It's a coin toss. Another way this could have gone towards Liverpool, and Amorim would have got stick for taking Diallo off, and was saying some of the substitutions weren't right. But instead, we're looking at it the other way, thinking, oh, Amorim's a genius.
I mean, yeah, genius. He's never a genius. He is still a massive fraud. But, he does pull off some really crazy results sometimes. This is like when he went... Did they go away to City last year and win?
Yeah,
They did.
Diallo.
He pulls off these crazy wins when everyone thinks that he's down and out. And then he'll go and lose to Bournemouth 3-0 at home. He's just that type of manager. He doesn't make any sense.
But what I respect right now with Man United is the fans are so behind him, chanting out his name after they beat Liverpool. You'll speak to a lot of Man United fans, and it's something that I'm not saying I like it because it's United, but it's something that within that fan base you should be happy to see. The commitment to this manager, the commitment to this project. We may say he's not a good manager, but he's pulling out some big results. City last season. Under pressure, he's beaten Liverpool 2-1 in our own backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because the next question really is like, do you think there's redemption from Amorim? Because I think loads of people were calling for him to go, leave Manchester United and everything. But do you think now, because obviously the problem really with Manchester United is they do pick up these crazy wins, like against Anfield. They beat us not too long ago, even though we were down to 10 men, which is a recurring theme. Yeah, they pull out these crazy wins. Even last week I mentioned the Etihad result, which is why I made the prediction of the 2-1. But it's just a consistency because they could, like you said, they beat, sorry to tell you again, they beat Liverpool 2-1 at Anfield. However, next week, when they face off against Brighton, they could quite easily lose 3-1.
Yeah.
And then the following week after that, and the week after that, until they face another one of the top 6 teams and decide they want to actually win the game. Which is, I mean, it's not really sustainable for the club. Because Manchester United are a huge... Because I'm not going to lie, it's funny. It's funny seeing them like all the way... page 2 of the Premier League table. However, there comes a point where you take the rivalry aside for a second, and you look at them and think, this is not where Manchester United.
They need to be winning.
Yeah. No, they do not need to be winning.
No, but JP's right. A rivalry aside, United need to be one of the. They need to be one of the big boys, and they haven't been. Answering your sorry if I interrupt you here, JP. Answering your question, this is a huge time for Amorim. I do think this is make or break. If he can't use this as momentum after beating United's biggest rivals, who have just won the league 2-1 away at Anfield, if he can't take this on with him and spur on more results, his time might be done sooner rather than later in Manchester.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because Amorim, being a Manchester United manager is huge, because the thing with Manchester United is not just a club, they're a global brand as well. And he's essentially, because Amorim doesn't own the club. I mean, that's a fact. However, he's kind of the poster person for the
poster boy.
He represents the club. Yeah, that's the one. He represents the club as a manager, and he's obviously going to be the one that gets the criticism straight away. And it's tough. Like, obviously, Because if he does, say for instance, lose the next 7 games, which will be fantastic viewing, it'll be funny to watch. But if he does lose the next 7 games, and then Jim Ratcliffe and whoever else is in charge decides he needs to go, then who's actually available to replace him? Because there's only one name who when because it's funny when I said his manager's name at work, I got the 2 Manchester United fans are fuming, not like angry or
Go on.
anything, but they were like, how could you say that? How could you say his name? There's no chance and no whatever. But what if? Because I've heard talks that Jim Ratcliffe has been in talks with Gareth
Yep.
Southgate,
Yep.
and you start to think, because obviously if I was Amorim reading that headline in a newspaper, I'd be slightly concerned to know that the owners have been speaking to somebody else, and it's like he's like it's basically waiting in the wings kind of thing. Because we never know. I could maybe read too much into it. It could really have just been a general conversation, like talking about music or anything like that, whatever. But if Amram was to go and Southgate was to take his place, would it get better or worse at the club?
I mean, there are better managers out there than like if you get managers like Xavi that have at least won a league title, at least he knows what he's doing and he knows how to win. But someone like Gareth Southgate, it's only going to get worse. I mean, bring Southgate in by all means. I'll be over the moon because it will only get worse. Amorim, I mean, you might disagree with me, but Amorim is a better manager than Gareth Southgate, and that's difficult for me to say because I think Amorim's shocking, but he's a better manager than Southgate. At least he's got a philosophy. Southgate really hasn't got anything. His whole tactics is based off individual performance, especially with England. He'd say, "Go on, boys, go on, get the win." I can imagine what his team talks like, like basic. Because what do you say when you got players like Harry Kane, Declan Rice, and Pickford in the same team? I mean, they're obviously going to beat teams like Ecuador and teams like that. So there's not really a team talk. When you've got Man United players there that ain't good enough, like Dallo, players like that. I don't think Dallo's that great. Like you have to actually implement a system. You got to train these players.
I think
Southgate
yeah.
Southgate hasn't got that capability.
Yeah. I think it could be a case. I think they need to take a different approach. I think Man United, I think the last few years have looked at managers that have succeeded in smaller leagues, and they've succeeded with less quality per se, or less big names per se. Look at Ten Hag at Ajax. A lot of the players he had at the time weren't big names. They worked as a squad. They worked as a unit. Same as Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. Apart from Gyökeres, they worked as a squad. Potentially they could start looking. I might be really reaching far-fetched here, and if this goes up on TikTok, I'll have a lot of comments against me. They need to look at mentality monster managers that have worked with big players like your Brunos. Casemiro's still a world-class player who's got an incredible resume. He's a character in the dressing room, same as De Ligt. Players like that, they need a mentality monster. So they need to look at someone like Zizou. I talked about this a few weeks ago. Look at someone like Zizou. Someone as well, probably too far gone into retirement. I don't know if he's even got another job. The butt sniffer himself, Joachim Low. He's worked with he's never got. He might.
He's so finished. He's
Yeah,
finished.
but you don't know. Yeah, but those are the type of managers they need to go for. They need to shy away. They need to
Those are the
stop.
type of managers.
They need
Someone
to.
like him. He's your one hit wonder. He's like a Didier Deschamps. Deschamps isn't a good
You
manager,
say you
but
say that Tyrese, you say that, but he
De-
had a relatively successful club career before he went to Germany. He won a few.
look,
He won a few cups with a relatively out mid Stuttgart side, and now you're looking at Stuttgart, and their coach is wanted by a lot of the big European teams, Sebastian Hoeneß. Um, I think if Joachim Löw wasn't so out of the game, which he is right now, It's an option. He's a mentality monster. Look at the players
A
he's worked.
mentality monster,
Well, look at the
I
players
would
he's
go
worked
for
with. Look at the players he's
is,
worked with.
yeah,
He's, they
I
need
mean,
to. I'm not saying they have to. Just look at a different approach. They've got to stop this approach right now because it's obviously not working. The last two managers, similar, not similar styles, but similar sort of traits and what they've been through in the last 3 or 4 years before they come to United. They're shambolic. They haven't worked out. I think they need to take a new approach.
in terms of mentality monsters, I mean, the guy that we're playing against right now, I mean, look at Simeone.
He might want a new
That,
challenge.
that's someone
He might want a
that
new
if I was a
challenge.
United fan,
But the
if I
thing
was
is,
a United
the
fan, I want
thing
him.
is, when they had Mourinho, when they had Van Gaal, the bigger name managers, they were better than this. They were better than this, and the squads were similar. Man United fans will agree with me as well. They weren't sitting in 10th, 11th, 12th, 14th. They were second or third. They weren't far off the pace.
I mean, then again, you look at Ten Hag, and Ten Hag wasn't unsuccessful. It's Ten Hag,
He won an
actually, you
FA
know what?
Cup.
Ten Hag was a success.
He's won the same amount of trophies
Two,
as Arteta.
two, well, he's won more trophies than Arteta. 2 trophies in 2 years.
Yeah,
2 trophies in 2 years.
the Carabao Cup as
Yes,
Cup
well.
he
and
won
FA
more
Cup.
trophies than Arteta.
Yep,
Yeah.
2 trophies in 2 years. Third place and eighth place. But it doesn't matter that he came eighth place second season because he won a trophy. So actually, I mean, Ten Hag got a better time than Van Gaal, and as good a time as Mourinho, basically, because Mourinho got a European trophy. So I think actually, you know what? If you said to United fans, in hindsight, if you said we're going to sack Ten Hag and bring Amorim in, I think they would have kept Ten Hag.
Looking back now, they would have kept Ten Hag.
Yep.
Looking back, like if you were to say yeah, I couldn't agree more, Tyrese. And that's you know what I didn't. That's such a good point. Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
crazy.